Alright, so in this tutorial, we are going to learn how to make this scroll animation in Framer. Now, as you can see, the animation works in this way. Like when you scroll, the next image appears from the middle of the screen when you scroll down, and when you scroll up, then it goes back to its previous state. Now let's first analyze what is happening here in order to understand the scroll animation behavior here. So you can guess the first image that we have is in its fixed position. The second image appears from the middle of the screen, and the third one appears also from the middle of the screen, but on top of the second one. So you can guess, if you have some basic knowledge of Framer and CSS property, that we have applied the z-index value here. Like the z-index of this image is greater than the second one, right? And you also can guess that the property that we are using here of Framer is called the scroll transform. Because when we are scrolling up or down, this image property is getting transformed from one state to another state, right? So let's do the design, and this tutorial will be useful for the beginners who are doing scroll animations or who are trying to understand how to work with the scroll animation. So I'm just gonna go and create another page so that I can show you from the beginning what is happening here. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a stack here. So I'll just create a frame and convert that in a stack, right? When I remove the frame, I have the stack, so I'll just put the stack in the middle of the screen. And what I want is, I want the stack like the desktop, this version. I want it to hide to fill the content, right? And I'm going to come here and make it 100 view height, the height, yeah? And the width, I'll go with fill container. And then let's take an image from the internet. So I'll go to Unsplash to take a random image from the 3D search. So I'll probably go with, let's go with this one. That's a little good. Right, let's go with this one. Cool. Alright, so we have our first image. I'm going to rename it as background. And then we need the other images, right? So I'm going to just duplicate it here and make 3 of it, right? And let's rename this one as image 1, then image 2, and this one image 3. All right, let's change them quickly so that we can have different images. So probably go with this one, yeah, like I'll probably go with this planet kind of stuff. Ooh, that good. Cool. Now this one. All right, cool. So we have our images ready. Now what you're going to do, we're going to include these images inside this frame, right? Our main desktop here. So I'm going to take all of this, select all of them, and copy them, paste them here inside it. And you see there is a gap here. So we're going to reduce the gap of the main frame. And yeah, we can keep them aside now. We don't do anything. So the first one, let's see how does it look. So yeah, it just scrolls. So we want the first image to be fixed, right? So if we do that, what will happen? That all of the other images will come on top of it. Because we haven't applied any Z index value yet, but let's do this, right? So we have the first one as fixed, and then underneath it, we have the second image, like the image 1, and then image 2, image 3, right? We actually want all of the images to be at fixed position, because in our animation, if we can remember, what we saw here, every picture is appearing from the middle of the screen, right? So if we want that animation to happen, then we need the image to be placed at the center of our frame. And then from opacity 0 and a scale 0, we're going to transform it to opacity 1 and a scale 1. All right. So let's go back to our new page. So we have this image. So what we're going to do, we're going to make all of these images to be fixed. Now you see this looks kind of weird, but yeah, we're going to work on it. So what we need to do now, we are going to make all of the images height to be 100 view height, right? We're going to check the background. Yeah, cool. The desktop is fitting the content. That's fine. We're going to make it 100 view height at this point. And it's going to take auto. Cool. Doesn't matter. So the next thing we're going to do here, we're going to provide Z index value to each of these stacks. So the first background is Z index 1. That's fine. We want Z index 2 for the second image. Image 1. Then for image 2, Z index 3. And the last one, Z index. Where is the Z index? Cool, here. 4. Nice. Now if we check here, this one is here, but this image has this padding from the top, like the position, right? So what do we want? We want 0 here. So it comes at the top. And for this one, we also want 0. Right? Now you can see, and the last one is at the top, right? So now, let's see what happens. Nothing's going to happen here though, because it's just fixed over there. So we want some animation on top of this frame, right? So let's go back to our animation and analyze it more. What's happening here? So we have our first image. When you start scrolling, the second image appears, right? So we want a section which we can call a blank section or a spacer, and we're going to recall it like if that section appears, then do something with the first image, right? So let us go back over here and then start making our spacers. So I call them a spacer. You can call them anything you want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate the first image, and from this one, I'll just remove the fill from here and rename it as spacer, right? And I also will change it to relative positioning. By this time, this will change. That's not a big deal right now. So we're going to make the same height for the spacer as well, so that it remains same. Now, we also want some other spacers here. Let me just rename this spacer to spacer 1, so that we can recall it easily later on. I'm going to duplicate it 2 times for the other 2 images, right? So this should be renamed as spacer 2, and this one should be renamed as spacer 3. Cool. So I'm just going to place it at these places. It doesn't matter where it is, right? It is having relative positioning, so it doesn't matter where you place it here. But to make an organized design, we should follow this structure. Nice. So, let's try this out. What's happening here? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Cool. So what we want to apply some animations here. I'll recall the spacers while doing those animations. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just name those sections, right? So scroll section, I'm going to come over here, scroll section, and name the image 1 as image 1 so that I can recall them easily. For this one, I'll name this one as image 2 and this one image 3. And I'll do the same for the spacers as well. So I'll come over here and name it as spacer 1. Just copy it. And then so that I can paste it later. Spacer 2. Right? And this one, spacer 3. Cool. So we have successfully named all the sections. Now, I want to do some animation with the image 1 and image 2 and image 3. So let's go over here. I'll click on our effect and go to scroll transform. So as I said earlier, we need to transform the image property, right? So what we want here, we want section view. Which section? Spacer 1, right? So when the spacer 1 is in view, what we want? Well, we want the opacity from 0 and scale to 0 to opacity 1 to scale, let's say 1.1, right? Make it a little bit bigger. And transform, we're going to go with 200 for stiffness and 40 for damping. Cool. So you have this transform. Now what we want to do, we're going to copy this and paste it for the image 2 and 3. Right? Paste. What we're going to do over here, we're going to come back to image 2 and then change the section from spacer 1 to spacer 2. And here, we're going to change it to spacer 1. Where is that? Oh, sorry, here. Spacer 1 to spacer 3. Right? And all the things are same because we just copied it, right? Copied and pasted. Cool. Now let's see if anything happens. You see, there is a blink over here. We saw the first image slightly. Then this one is coming. Then this one is coming. Right? But yeah, this is not what we want. So let's analyze what's happening here. So when the spacer 1 is in view, then we want to do some animation with this image, the first image. But you need to understand here that the spacer 1 is at the view, on the view, when we are playing it, because it is at the very top, right? This spacer 1 is at the very top. That's why this animation is happening in this way, right? So we need another spacer, another blank frame, so that we can start scrolling. So let's do this. Let's copy the spacer 1. Duplicate the spacer 1. And the first one, this one is the second one. The first one, we'll rename it as spacer 0. Right? And also we're going to come here and change the name to spacer 0. Then you'll see the first image. Oh, it's not happening. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, it has become spacer 0, right? The image 1. So we are going to select it to spacer 1. Let's check for the image 2. It's spacer 2. That's fine. Cool. So now if we play this, you see the first image that we selected is staying on the screen. Now if we start scrolling, the second image should come. Now one thing we are missing here, which is I probably did one mistake, which is with the opacity. You don't want the opacity to be 0 at the beginning stage. So from opacity, I'll make it just 1. Want it to appear on the screen, right? So, yep, you see, the second image is coming from the middle of the screen. And then the third one, and then the fourth one. Now if we scroll back, it should go to the same direction. Cool, this is what we wanted to achieve, right? So what we have learned here, the reason for doing this tutorial was to make you understand how the scroll transform works and how you can analyze any animation and apply that using Framer. Build that using Framer, right? So we find out while doing this animation that we need spacers or blank frames in order to call those sections to do something with another section, like from 0 opacity, 0 scale to something else. Now you can change the position of it, you can do so many stuffs. But the main reason for showing this was how to use those spacers, blank stacks or blank frames, so that you can call them. And these things you are viewing, but your user are not going to view the blank space, because when they will be coming on your website, they will be viewing this. So yeah, this was it. And I hope you have learned the basics of how to create complex animation using the scroll transform. And you also have seen the way I work. So I have gone through some errors here, but we actually figured those out, how to deal with those, right? If you can remember, the first image was appearing all of a sudden, but we didn't want to, so we decided to make another spacer, right? Another spacer here, spacer 0, so that we get some space to scroll. Cool, this was it. I hope you have learned something new, and if you have enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section, and I'll catch you up in the next one.